Hey my friend, this is Darnell Clarke, your industry leader in this career game, the answer man. Hey, today's topic is around leaders are readers and readers are leaders. Do you know that 85% of every person here in America who graduates from high school or college never pick up a nonfiction book ever again? 85% of people who graduate from high school and college never pick up a nonfiction book ever again. Reading is fundamental to your success. A person who does not read is no different than a person who cannot read. You are the same today as you will be tomorrow, except the books you read. I have determined that wherever I am and wherever I got to because I began reading books. The very first book I started reading books, nonfiction books, right out of college. The very first book I read was a book called Wealth Without Risk by Charles Givens. He's no longer with us. He's the guy regarding personal finance. He was before Clark Howard. He was before, what's her name? She's up here someplace, right? I can't remember her name. Susie Orman. He was before Susie Orman, and he was before Dave Ramsey. He was the guy who told me everything about personal financing, insurance, stocks and bonds, 401ks. He changed my disposition financially across the board early in my career, early in my life. Wealth Without Risk was the first book I ever read. And then he had a workshop here in the Atlanta metro area. I went to that workshop. One of his speakers talked about this book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I left that workshop and I went right to the bookstore and I purchased the book. There was a small little book and I took it and I consumed it in 2 days. Before I married my wife, we was engaged. I've been married to my wife for over 25 years now. And I went to meet with her mom for the first time, and she saw that over a two-day period, I consumed that book called Think and Grow Rich. The premise around Think and Grow Rich is all around you become what you think about. If you're not thinking of what you want to do or who you want to become in the future, all you will ever have and all you will ever be is what you got right now, which is nothing. So I consumed that book. And she said, Darnell, if you like that book, I saw you consume that book really easy. If you like that book, I have a program that you might be interested in. It's called this, The Psychology of Winning by Dennis Waitley. I didn't know this dude. I never heard of Dennis Waitley before. And as you see, it's cassettes. It's who listens to cassettes anymore? This is back a long time ago, over 20, 30 years ago. This was the first program I listened to. This was the Psychology of Winning. It changed my life forever. I consumed it. It was so much information. I am a winner. I am like Serena Williams and Michael Jordan. These are the two guys I only heard say the same thing. They said, listen, if you're not coming in first, you're last. And I like winning more than I hate losing more than I like winning. Those are the only two people I ever heard said it. And Michael Jordan is every time, you want to be at the top of the mountain, you get paired to Michael Jordan, right? And right now, Serena Williams is the best tennis player in the world ever, men or women, no matter what. And they believe in winning. And so I believe in winning too, right? This was the first book. This was the first program I listened to. And then I turned it on the back. On the back, they had this 1-800 number. I called them up. I asked them for a catalog. And from that catalog, from this and the catalog, came all of this. I started listening to guys like Jim Rohn, Brian Tracy, Napoleon Hill, Earl Nightingale, right? Zig Ziglar. Zig Ziglar taught me everything about goals and top performance. The first one I got was his program called See You at the Top by Zig Ziglar. See You at the Top was outstanding. And then I started listening to other people like Brian Tracy, Roger Dawson showed me and taught me how to do the secrets of power and negotiation. Dennis Waitley had another program. This program called The Richest Man in Babylon. The Richest Man in Babylon taught me about savings. The premise around that was all around whatever you make is yours to keep. All you make is yours to keep, right? And he taught me everything about savings. And then I started listening to Tom Peters. Whoo, Tom Peters. These are the icons of personal development. Tom Peters wrote the book called In Search of Excellence. If you never, ever read that book, it's an old book. It will separate you from all others. That was the iconic book that Tom Peters put together called In Search of Excellence. Those were my coaches. I believe we all need coaching. Right? We all need coaching. These were my coaches. And then once I started consuming all these programs, I started reading books. I started reading books immediately coming out of college. So let me give you a recommendation. I want you to start reading one nonfiction book every month for 2 years. After 2 years, I want you to start reading 2 books every single month. That's what I do now. And so these books here, these books are all the books I read last year. I read The Grit by Angela Duckworth. I read all these books last year to put inside me information to be excellent at what I do. These were all the books I read last year. Now, if you look behind me, these are all the books I got to read this year. All right, these are all the books I got to read this year. I've already purchased them. I had a list. These are all the books I read. These are the books I had to read this year. Below this, these are some more programs. These are some more programs. Can you see what I did? I had a car. I used to call it my university on wheels. Every time I got into the car, I popped a cassette in. That's how long I was doing it. I popped the cassette in, and that's what I did. And so I started reading so much, I couldn't read fast enough. So I started finding out and engaging in audio books. And so I started reading audio books. At the top up there are all my audio books I read. I listened to. All the books I listened to over the past couple years. And then on this side is some more audio books. Right? About a year ago, I decided, let me find out how many books, books on tapes, books on CD, DVDs, programs I had. I had over 1,000 books and programs. You don't see them here because I did a spring cleaning last year. Stupid. Yeah, I shouldn't have done that. I did a spring cleaning and I threw out somewhere about 200 or 300 books. If I would have took this video last year this time, everything above my hand, all that up there were books from the top shelf all the way to the ceiling, stacked all the way to the ceiling across from one end of the bookcase to all the way to the end of the other bookcase. And my wife hated coming in here because I had books all over the floor. I had books everywhere. I did a spring cleaning and I threw them all out. Stupid, I shouldn't have done that, right? But any books that I thought was dated, any books I didn't believe in the author anymore, I got rid of. I should have kept them, but I didn't. So my recommendation to you, my friend, is to start reading a nonfiction book once a month. See, we have the ability to get things into our brain called our gates. We have our mouth gate, our eye gate, and our ear gate. When we just use our eye gate or ear gates on videos and television, it does not. We don't engage in memory and memorize and receive and learn from when we just watching or listening. Do you ever recognize why is it so easy to be watching television and go to sleep while you're watching television? Your mind is not active when you're watching television. I recognize that. And so that's when I stop looking at videos to learn stuff and stop watching or listening and watching at videos or listening at audio tapes and audio CDs and audio programs, because you don't learn as fast and as much as you are when you read. Let me give you a suggestion. When you read a book, read it out loud. I'm not saying read it loud where you disturbing everybody, but when you read a book, you read it out loud. So it goes into your eye gate. You read it out loud and it comes out of your mouth gate, and then it goes into your ear gate. Study shows that when you read like that, you're able to obtain and maintain what you read more. So I read 2 books a month. If you have not ever started reading books, let me give you your first book you should read. The Alchemist. I can't tell you how many professional leaders or professional developer gurus told me to read this book. This book called The Alchemist is the first book you should read. It is not a nonfiction. It's a fiction book, but it is everything you need to know to understand your personal legend. Your personal legend is what God have created you to do. It's already inside you. If you turn into inside, it will show you the direction of your personal legend. Your personal legend is a person's only obligation in life. It is your life mission. If you have not ever read a book or you're looking for a book to read, read The Alchemist. I promise you it is interesting reading. So like I said, I read books every month. This was the last book I read just a couple weeks ago. I finished reading this called .com Secrets by Russell Brunson. I am an expert in this career game. but I am not an expert in social media, internet marketing, right? This is the book showed me the game. It told me how to engage people with my message, how to monetize my message. I got a second book up there. It's right here. I still have to read that book, but I read this book. Right now, this is the book I'm reading right now. I started reading this. This is the book, right? The Ultimate Guide to Facebook Advertising. I will have to put my information out there on Facebook to advertise. I have a book. Excuse me. I have a book that I just created. My publisher just sent it to me. It's ready to be sold. I'm putting everything around it. And the way you're going to find it is through advertising on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and all that. I got to learn all that. I am reading this book right now. By the time you probably get to this video, I probably finished reading this book. I need to know how to do advertising on Facebook. So that's why I told you that's what I do. I learn from reading. So there you go, my friend. If you want to take your career to a whole nother level, start reading books. A person who does not read is no different and no better than a person who cannot read. And you are the same as you will be today, except for the books you read and the people you talk to. So I ask you, my friend, what was the last nonfiction book you read? If you haven't read a book, read The Alchemist book. This is the first book I want you to read. So there you go, my friend. I got something special since you stayed to the end. If you like this video, click on the like button. Share this with 3 or 4 people that need to read books, right? And give me your comments, because I answer all comments, because I am Darnell Clarke, the answer man. And subscribe to my YouTube channel. So there you go. Start reading your books, because reading is fundamental to your success, and a person who does not read is no different than a person who cannot read. This is Darnell Clarke, your industry leader in this career game, saying, hey, go and start reading books, because it's going to take you to the mountaintop. I'll see you in the next video. Later.